What's up, guys? Today we've got the Galaxy S23 here, continuing our coverage on the Galaxy S23 series, and after this we will do the Plus. Alright, so let's go ahead and get this one open. I'm really excited about this one because I actually really like the S22, and of course we're going to do those comparisons for you guys. Be sure to let me know what you guys want to see first. But I'm really excited to see how the battery life is going to function with this new chipset, since it's been so good on the S23 Ultra. Alright, so basically, you know, the unboxing experience, you pretty much get nothing. And here's the phone here. Let's go ahead and pop this out here. Alright. So, here is the new design here. Boom. Alright, so here's a new design here. So basically it looks more like a S23 Ultra now. We don't have the camera bump, which, let me know how you guys feel about that. Do you guys like the camera bump? But I think it looks really good. I wasn't really that crazy about the design when I saw the renders, but when you see it in person, it does look really nice. So I'm glad that they actually made this move. I think it looks pretty nice. But pretty much feels like a Galaxy S22, the same size. Like I said, the big upgrade here really is going to come down to the battery life, especially if you're coming from the S22. The battery life just has to be just as good as the S23 Ultra, which I'm excited. I think the battery life is going to be pretty good on here. So we do have matte finish on here. We also do have, you know, glass and metal design on here. Like I said, I love the new camera design, and I've always liked these phones because they're just lighter and easier to hold than the Ultra. Not only that, but they're smoother on the edges as well too. So these are just more comfortable phones to me. But I'm gonna go ahead and set up and give you guys my first impressions. The Galaxy S23 does have a 6.1-inch display, and the display is pretty beautiful, guys. It's got very slim bezels, I believe around 86.6% screen to body ratio, something that I really like. Punch hole in the middle. It's the dynamic AMOLED display, 120 Hz HDR10 plus. It gets up to 1750 nits peak brightness, so it's a very bright display outdoors, and it's completely flat as well too, for everybody that, you know, hates the curved displays. And like I said, this is a very easy you know, phone to one hand as well too. So if you have smaller hands, it's not going to be as big as something like the Plus and the Ultra version of this phone. Also, guys, you do have on here a 1080p resolution with 425 for the PPI. Overall, for the size of the display, it looks pretty sharp. Honestly, icons and everything still look really good on here, really sharp. So really no issues at all with the display. And if you want this wallpaper, it is on an app called Live Loop as well right here. But overall, the display experience is great, guys. I really do like it. Alright, so I went ahead and ran some benchmarks, guys, and here are the scores we get with Geekbench. So this has the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 processor, also Adreno 730, no SD card support, and the base is 128 gigs and 8 gigs of RAM. And then I also ran the Antutu benchmark as well too here, and you can sort of see this phone does get definitely a little bit hotter than the S23 Ultra for sure. Now this phone does a very good job with gaming performance, guys. You can see we're running PUBG here, and for the most part it typically does a pretty good job with not really getting too hot with gaming. Like I said, I'll drop like a gaming test for this phone because I'm really curious. But so far the gaming performance has been pretty good. You basically can play anything you want, but like I said, if you're coming from like a S22, S21, you're not going to see too much of a difference, honestly, with the overall gaming experience. Let's go ahead and see if we got any type of speaker improvement. So it sounds still pretty much like the S22, which have very good speakers. So the speakers are loud, they have a ton of bass, good mids and highs. Overall, just an excellent speaker setup here. If you cover the bottom, you're still getting very good sound out of the top speaker. Also, everything else is pretty much the same as far as the fingerprint scanner still feels the same, and all of your additional features are still on here. Like I said, this will have probably a slightly longer lifespan than previous models, especially if you're coming from a much older phone. We'll get into that. But I think one of the most important things here is really the camera. So it's something that we're going to have to do a side-by-side test with, but the image quality is pretty good on here. You have a new 50 megapixel lens that basically gives you a little bit more detail with shots. Like I said, if you're coming from an S21, S22, you're not going to see a massive difference, but you do have better detail if you crop into photos and stuff like that, if you decide to do that 50 megapixel. You also have a 10 megapixel telephoto lens that also does 3x optical zoom, 12 megapixel ultra wide on here, and this one actually shoots in 8K 30, which is actually pretty nice. The 8K 30 video is actually usable, which I really like, so that's pretty nice. It doesn't crop as bad. And also the selfie cam I thought was really good, like the S22 as well too. 12 megapixels, shoots in 4K 60. So overall, I think the phone itself has some really good images here. So I was just really impressed. Like I said, I'm going to take it out, low light, check that out. But, it takes excellent flagship quality photos, guys. Now, the battery life is something that I want to test out, so that'll be something that, I'll be watching intently as I, use this phone, because I've been hearing very good things about the battery life so far. So this has a 3900 milliamp battery, 25 watt charging, which I wish was a little bit faster. I wish they brought the 45 watts to this phone. And then you also have 15 watt wireless charging and reverse wireless charging. So with this new chipset being so much more efficient, we should get better battery life on this phone. So really excited to see what that's all about. So be sure to subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next one.